Yo, it's your boy, T.O., as you know.
It's your boy, O-Rain, real name, no games, no gimmicks.
Yo, it's a motherfucking fake podcasting one-stop shop for everything TV, media, and film related, along with any of the goddamn thing we talk about, coming to you live, direct, Proof of Concept Studios. What the fuck is up? We back.
Yeah, we back. We ain't been in this motherfucker in a minute.
Yo, it's been like a month, dude. Holy
it's
shit.
summer, though. You know what I mean?
Things change.
Yeah.
Summer. This is true. This is true.
Sometimes, you know, you're just like, oh, in the studio or out in the streets. Sometimes the streets are calling.
I mean, you heard Drake, man. Everybody out partying. He's making the hits.
True.
You know what I mean? You gotta.
Well, he is recording them on a yacht, which is
it's a little different, right?
It's a little bit different. Studio
I hate when people do that. Yo, people would be like, "Yo, I'm working so fucking hard, man. Everybody doesn't know how to fucking grind." You know, as they stare out until the skyline of fucking New York City.
Yeah, it's easier to grind. Like, granted, I always, you have to work hard enough to get to the point where you have those things, right?
You do, but I feel like there's a perception that I think there's a 1-to-1 perception in that, oh, if I work hard enough, then I'll get that skyline view. The truth is that it doesn't necessarily mean that. You can work real fucking hard and not get that skyline view. And
sure, it depends on what you're working hard at. Also,
not only what you're working hard at, but also it takes a little bit of luck to get there. I'm not saying that you don't. Sure. I'm not saying those people don't work hard. What I'm saying is there are some things that have to kind of bounce. Your ball has to bounce a certain way in order for you to kind of like, all right, let me level up here and get this shit.
Yeah.
Right.
Hard work is never all it takes.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yes.
It's hard work. It's a lot of luck. And it's also like connections and people, you know, like you and I could work just as hard. But if you have connections that I don't have, or if you got lucky in a way that I didn't, you're going to blow past me, even if we're working at the same level or the same speed. Right. So like anyone who says, all you need to do is work hard, that's not it. You need to work hard. You need to put yourself in the right positions. You need to like seize opportunities when they come. You need a lot of fucking luck along the way too.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of perceptions about like hard work. Like if you talk to like the Gary V's of the world, oh, what are you sleeping? Why? What?
Yeah.
It's stupid. Why sleep? You know, I don't sleep ever. You know, it's just like, all right,
dude, you're fucking lying.
Yeah. But not only, okay, he might actually even be telling the truth. I don't really give a shit. I think the main thing that I take out of that is that like what you're doing is casually overlooking a lot of other shit. Like you're making it so that they believe that the sole reason why you're not, and the reason why I say this, the reason why I find it like an important difference to make is that I feel like people look at like the shit that like Gary Vee has or like that Drake might have or whoever else and be like, if I don't get that, then I am unsuccessul.
Yeah.
When in truth,
you can't measure the shit against somebody else's success.
You truly can't. Like you have to define success for yourself and in a way that isn't just based on material things, right? Because if your whole thing is I just want a Bugatti, I just want to this is the problem with the whole Andrew Tate thing, which is if the image that you're projecting out there is just like, well, you need this in order to consider yourself successful, then it's like, yeah, then people are going to use that as the benchmark, even though a lot of the people you're talking to are never going to get there.
Yeah.
Where they're going to get
fuck what anybody says I need to do as a human being in order to fulfill what they define as success. The fuck out of here.
But there are some people who need guidance. And I think that where they go wrong is they give the guidance and they're like, yeah, okay, work out, work hard, all these things, all great things to say. But then you're like, well, the proof that you're doing all this is you got all the bitches and you got the Bugattis. And it's like, well, I'm not sure if that's the correct measurement of if I'm doing well. Like if people like me generally, I get along with my family, my friends, I've got a good support network and I support them just the same. I feel like that's more of my measurement if I'm doing well. Yeah. Because the times that I'm not doing well, I'm probably not doing any of this shit, right? I'm not fucking helping anybody.
Rich people kill themselves all the time because they're unhappy because they've got all the shit, right? Yeah. They've got the Bugatti, they've got the bitches, they've been to the places, they do all the things, they got the nice suits, and they still commit suicide because they're still like, you know, a bit of like unhappiness or there's something there that they don't feel like fulfilled with. Yeah. And all the cars in the world are not going to help that thing. Yeah. So I heard something a long time ago and I feel like this is how like I define success, right? It's like, this guy who was speaking, he was like, you're not successful if your kids don't come home and like, or he defined success as like, I'm successful because my kids want to spend time with me. right? I have money. I've got a nice house. But what if you have all of these things and your kids don't come to visit you? They don't come to call you. Your friends don't call you unless it's for money. People don't call you unless it's for like advice or business. Like that. Fuck that.
Because you don't have any real relationships at that point in time.
You're just chasing money and success the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, I want. No matter how much money I have, if my daughter's like, I can't wait to spend time with dad, or like go home to see dad, or I got to call my dad every day. That's success.
That's worth more than anything.
Fuck
you know? And I think that's largely what I think people are missing when they talk about the idea of success. Right? Is this idea that success isn't just an external thing that you can show with the things that you buy. Success is your not influence over other people, but relation to other people.
Yeah.
And I think that can show itself in many different ways. Like, for instance, like sometimes you can have family members who like, sometimes you just suck and it's just like, all right, well, fuck it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to sit here and measure my worth or success by my relationship with you because it's like, you're kind of a piece of shit. Right.
Yeah.
But if you kind of treat everybody in your life, like if friends, family, acquaintances, all these people kind of are like whatever about you, I feel like that's an indicator. It might not be definitive in terms of like who you are, but I feel like that's an indicator. If there's nobody, if everybody's just like, kind of whatever, then I feel like that's okay. Maybe I need to reevaluate how I've been approaching like a lot of things in my life. You know?
If you're a man, you've got like a Ferrari and you've got a beautiful woman next to you, but let's say you have children, you don't see your kids, you don't really take care of your kids, you don't have a good relationship with them, or like your other friends and family members. I look at you as a poor man. Like, I wouldn't want your life.
Yeah,
you could be in the nicest, newest luxury car, but if you don't have a real genuine relationships with your family and friends, you can keep it.
Would you rather be filthy rich or have that life?
What do you mean? Like, have the life of like with friends and
Let's
family?
say you can be a billionaire but have like you don't have good relationships with like basically anybody. Like, you don't have anybody who you can really talk to, nobody who you can really like trust in your life. And I know I'm kind of like priming the witness by saying all this.
The answer's already there. No, I mean, but like if it was like, yo, I give you $10 million, but you cannot have.
No, I'm not even talking about 10 million. I'm talking about literally like the amount of money that is just like, what can't this buy?
Yeah, I'll be good. I would rather just keep going as I'm going. Hopefully, I find some more luck along the way. But like, I don't have to lose myself, my family, my friends, my relationships along the way.
Yeah.
And then if I get there, great. If I never get there, that's fine too.
Yeah.
Being having that much money and nobody is like, hey,
nobody fucks with you.
No one even calls you to like check in on you personally.
Yeah,
they only call you.
Rough.
Only people who call you are like your accountant and your like finance manager, your realtor.
The fucking cold calls.
Yeah.
You start talking to the cold call person like, and then, no, I don't want to buy your product. But how are you doing? How's your life?
You have to tell people to ask you how you're feeling, like how ask you about yourself.
Ask me how my day is.
Ask me how my day was. Ask me how I'm feeling.
That's a rough one. That I wouldn't really like. I don't wish that upon anybody. I think we all need, and I think that's what I find so toxic about like a lot of the conversations that like we were watching like some Fresh and Fit shit before we started the podcast. Not a fan of them, by the way, at all. But at least I'm not. But I feel like that's what's so toxic about like a lot of these things. It's not that they're sometimes they eventually state something that's like an actual like problem like in society. They'll have the correct issue stated. Like, hey, here's an issue in society. But then their like antidote to it is like, yeah, you just have to like get a lot of money and then fuck a lot of bitches and then that's it. It's like, I don't think that's going to get you to where that's not going to get you to be
those are the types of guys who go to strip clubs and the girl's like, oh my God, like you're so different.
Yeah.
She loves me.
I am different.
Like, nah,
she gets me. Like,
she just wants the bread.
Yeah. But then not realizing that that's a certain particular type of person that you're talking to in that case, right? That there are other people outside of that. I feel like when we watch these like podcasts and shit or listen to a podcast, it's like, they're like, yes, this one very sort of specific sliver of the world, that's the world, and it's just like everybody else is like this. And it's like, no, I just think you just leave the place you're at or go like, okay, if you don't like, if all the women at the club are fucking, basically just trying to get you for your money, all right, go to Zumba class. I don't fucking know. Like, go somewhere else. Like, you know what I mean? Why you keep going to the bar, to the club?
Can't complain about it.
You can't go to the strip club and be like, oh,
let me get 1,000 more ones. All they want from me is money. Like, leave, fool.
Yeah. On that very particular note, we got some shit that's coming out soon, or may already actually be out.
June is looking like
June's
this
weird
is gonna be a month.
This
bro.
This is it. This might be it. So we have a few different movies that just came out recently. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse just came out this past week.
It's in theaters only, right, for a period of time.
I believe so. Yeah. I don't think they're.
Are you gonna see it in theaters?
Yeah, I'll go fuck with it in theaters. I think I saw Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse just like on TV, and I was like, I was blown away. I was like, holy shit, this is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
So I think I might, but there's a lot of things I want to see in fucking theaters. Like, so for instance, I actually do want to see that movie with Jennifer.
Jennifer, fucking not Garner, not Aniston, Lawrence.
Jennifer Lawrence. No Hard Feelings. It's like the movie where she's
theaters?
like trying to like, kind of. I haven't been in the theaters in a minute, but there's also
okay.
There's also
good for you. Never would see that movie in theaters.
I mean, that's fair. I'm not going to sit here and be like, all right, you know, it's going to be the best thing sliced bread, but I wouldn't see that over fucking, you know, I'm not going to not go see Oppenheimer because I'm trying to go watch No Hard Feelings. I'm just saying, if I'm doing like a matinee or some shit like that, I don't know. I might go fuck with that.
Maybe, I don't know. Even that $2 would. What is the matinee price? $4, $8?
No, it's probably a little more than that, like $8, $9.
Anything above $8, I'm not going to go see it.
It's too much for me. Fuck, what was the movie that just came out?
Bro, there's a bunch of stuff. Listen, I'm excited. Are you talking about what's coming out or what?
What
is
just
today?
No,
Today's
like
June 4th.
this. I think these past couple of weeks, a lot of shit has come out. So for instance, what am I trying to find here? Little Mermaid came out.
Yeah.
I went to go see that. Fell asleep a lot during it, and I'm not meaning that as a diss to the movie. I just, you know, I'm notorious for falling asleep during movies, in the theater at least when I'm tired.
Yeah.
I usually I gotta like get some good rest before I go see a movie.
For sure, yeah. Going to see a movie after a long day, especially if it's a movie you want to see and you're falling asleep, it's just
tough.
Fuck. Now I got to see it again.
Yeah.
I already paid for it. Paying for something and falling asleep doing it.
It's the worst.
Yeah.
Well, so I don't mind paying for it, and this is going to sound counterintuitive, but I don't mind paying for it if I'm going with like another person and they enjoy it, because then I'm like, all right, at least somebody got something out of this. But like if I just go to a movie by myself, which is underrated by the way, but if I just go to a movie by myself and I start falling asleep during it, it's a wasted experience.
Yeah, I go to most movies by myself.
I don't.
Bro, I'll be in a bitch by myself, just
I'm
ready
not,
to go.
I think it's a great thing. You should, like, if you're not used to going to movies by yourself, try it. It's fucking amazing. I don't have to like wait on anybody. I don't have to like,
I'm on my time.
Oh, what do you want for snacks? It's like, fuck your snacks. I just want my snacks. The same shit that I always get. I want that. That's it.
And I can sit where I want to sit.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
Some people like to sit closer
one
to
seat
the screen.
left?
Yeah.
I'm good. I got it. But I would argue that going with somebody else, there's a shared experience there. You can talk about it afterwards. You know what I mean? There's like the immediate after theater experience of trying to dissect what you just watched. You know, did you see this? And like they'll come up with like great ideas of like, oh shit, like, you know, here's something that you didn't observe.
Yeah, see, my partner doesn't like to talk about movies after. She's like, well, I just feel like it's an interview. Like, no, I'm just asking you what you liked about it. It's like, no, don't give me time to process it.
Yeah, that's a little different.
That's why I go by myself.
But I think that's also like a mark of like, film criticism can be a touchy thing, because I think sometimes you like, especially people who think they know movies, which I feel like I know movies to a certain degree, but I'm not like a master of movies, right?
Yeah.
There's other like cinephiles who'd be like, oh no, this is what, and they have like sometimes like really like great ideas, great insightful ideas. But then also there can be like a little bit of like gatekeeping of just like, no, that's definitely like, there's this great moment. So I'm finishing up the last season of Mrs. Marvelous Mrs. Maisel right now, which is a great show by the way. And Maisel's mother, she's talking to her husband, he's a theater critic, and she's like, all right, so I was watching the play, like they watched a play together and they were at dinner, and she's like, I was watching it, I think this guy just like, I think this is just what happened with the guy, like it was just like, yeah, I think this guy just meant like, you know, this is just what happened in his life, whatever. And he's like, no, this is a commentary on like, you know, the church and like how religion plays a role in our lives, and like this like existential like fucking blah 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 blah, right? And so the guy who directed the play was like sitting like a couple tables down. She's like, oh, let me just go ask him. He's like, no, don't go disturb him. He's like, and she's like, I'll just go ask him. So she pulls him over. The guy, and she's like, hey, so what did you mean by X, Y, Z? He's just like, yeah, it was just, I don't know, it was just like a memory from my childhood. And he was just like, and like, that's it? And he's like, yeah, that's it. And then he was like, her husband is like,
I was wrong.
He's like, yeah,
sound smart.
But I feel like that's why some people might be slow to like give their opinions, because I think a lot of this arena is based around, no, that's a stupid idea. No, there's like much more deeper or whatever meaning to it. Now, if you choose to find deeper meaning, I think that's like, I'll never say somebody's wrong for saying how something feels to them.
Yeah.
But if you go then and be like, no, this is definitively what this means, and there is no other interpretation of it, okay, clearly you're fucking
Unless
wrong.
you wrote the movie or directed it or acted it. I'm like, man,
no,
get the fuck out of here.
No, there's no way you can. When somebody makes a painting, right? As soon as they finish the fucking painting and then they let other people see it, it's no longer theirs. The meaning to it is open to interpretation by
art is open to interpretation. Yeah. No, what I'm talking about is like the people who think that their interpretation is the correct interpretation, based off of like, they're like, no, this is what the artist meant. Yeah. I'm like, no, that's what you took from it, or that's what it means to you based off of your perception, how you see the thing. Yeah. And that's really all it comes down to. Now, the artist, like when it comes to a song, right, where you're like, oh, like, well, this lyric meant this to me, but the songwriter's like, well, no, this is like what I actually meant when I wrote that lyric based off of my experience. Then it's like, okay, cool. But at a certain point, like a song, we could love the same song for different reasons. Yeah. Because like, I'm like, oh, that's what this line means to me. And you're like, oh, that same line means something different, but we still enjoy it in different ways. You know what I mean? Yeah. Now, but I don't like talking to people who's like, well, no, you're wrong. Like my interpretation is the correct one. And that's when I'm like, yo, you didn't fucking write the song. Like that's just your interpretation and how it, how you feel when you hear it. Yeah. Saying all that, I'm directly going to contradict myself by saying that there are some interpretations that are probably more right than others. Like, so for instance, if I fucking watch, I don't know, pick literally any fucking movie that we might have seen together. Tenet. Yeah, if you say Tenet, right? Tenet is about the fucking is about gypsies, and it's like, I don't think that's true, right? That's just wrong as fuck. I don't think that's correct at all. Maybe if I heard your argument and then you're like, okay, I can sort of see what you meant, but also that definitely was like not like the intention here. Yes. So I think it's like a sliding scale, is that there's some opinions that are probably more correct in the sense that more accurate to what literally is being shown on screen, and any sort of reasonable interpretation of that can be rooted in this general area. Then there's others who are just like, that just has no place whatsoever. Yeah. I'm talking about like opinions about like a song or a movie where like we're having a similar conversation. You're not like way wrong. I'm not. No one's way wrong or way right in any particular direction. At a certain point, it's just like you perceived it one way, I perceived it one way. Neither of us, unless we starred in it, acted in it, and wrote, like directed the film, are 100% right, because you can't be. Yeah. I don't think you can be. But again, like I would even push back against that. Like even if you did act in it, even if you did whatever, it's like as soon as you fucking finish putting together, there's some people who literally acted in a movie and like don't really understand the movie at all. A lot of times, I mean, I think I forget who said it, but I think it was the best way to put it. It's like really the only person who like who fully understands the movie is the person who's directing it, because they're directing it from like, for the most part, their point of view. Here's the problem with that, is that when you're putting a movie together, there's what you wrote, then there's what you shoot, and then there's what you edit. Sure. All three are really fucking different. Yeah. Right? Well, so that, and like Zack Snyder, right? Yeah. Zack Snyder directed a certain movie, and then the studio put out a different movie, right? But and the writers of that movie, did Zack Snyder write it, or was he just director? I think he either co-wrote it or wrote himself. He definitely had a hand in like writing it. Yeah. So like, and like maybe the other writers were like, hey, like we also kind of like wrote a different movie than what the studio put out or the Snyder cut. You know what I mean? So like in those situations, many people have a voice or perspective, but like if I didn't write the movie and I only directed it, all I can do is direct it based off of what my perception of the writer's goal was. Well, let me put it to you this way. I think it was Scorsese that, I think it was like maybe Goodfellas or maybe like one of his like iconic movies, that there was like a very particular like scene that was shot
but he didn't really realize that, oh, I can put it together this way until they were literally sitting down to edit it. Right. And so what I mean is that like you can, if you're the director of a movie, you can set out to direct, like there's a thing that's written on a page that you've interpreted and you're like, okay, this is how we're going to shoot it. This is how we're going to do it. Right. Then you get there and you're like, all right, let's do some other shit over here. Or maybe the actors improv and just do some wild shit. And you're just like, all right, I fuck with it. Right. So there's the thing you intend to do. And then there's the thing that just happens, right, through happenstance. So even you as the director are kind of stumbling your way through the meaning of it, right? Because you might have had the central thing that, hey, here's what I'm dealing with. But then through various layers and various stopping points, you might find something wildly different than when you originally intended. In which case, it's like it's kind of like what they remember in. Did you watch WandaVision all the way through?
Yeah.
Okay. Remember when Vision was talking about the ship of Theseus? When he's like fighting. When he's fighting himself. I don't
remember the show that well.
Do you remember when he was fighting himself?
Yes.
Okay. So he brings up the idea of like the ship of Theseus, which is actually the idea that okay, you have a ship, right? And every so often on the ship, they need to remove a plank. It's like rotted or whatever the case is, and they replace all the planks. Sooner or later, they're going to replace all the planks on the ship, right? What if you take all the planks that they replaced and made another ship out of it, like an identical ship out of it, right? Which one's the actual ship of Theseus? Is it this new one that they replaced all the planks with? Or is it the old one that has all the old planks? Which one is the actual ship of Theseus, right? It's like a philosophical question. I think the same thing about a movie, right? Which is if you make something and it's, you have the intention of like, this is what I wrote, this is what I've got down on the page. You literally go out, you shoot the scenes, all that. Then you get into the editing suite and you're like, okay, I originally thought I was going to put this scene over here, but then damn, it kind of works over here. I'm discovering something that I didn't really see before. It's like, well, which one's the actual movie? Was it the movie that you originally wrote or that you originally directed?
If you're the director in the editing
if
room,
you're the
right?
director trying to, call the shot there.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a great question. Yeah. I would say that as the director, when you're shooting the scene in the moment, like you're shooting it from your vision, right? But and editing it's interesting because hindsight's 20/20. Mm-hmm. So you're in the moment, I shot this particular scene because that was my vision. Now looking back at it, now I can tweak it and edit it and whatnot, right? Mm-hmm. But I would say the original movie or like the film itself is like the one that was shot. The editing process is just like how do we manipulate the film, the footage that we have to tell the story. And that story is probably different than, what you shot. And it's probably going to be different. And if you're a director and you're not in the editing room, then the original film is definitely your story.
A lot of studios, I mean, this is why people clash with the studios, right? Because the studios might have notes on what they want in and what they want out of the film for like various reasons. But I think you're right in that, what you ended up editing is going to be probably a different version of whatever it is that you originally intended to make. But I think that's why I'm begging the question of like, what's the real interpretation of the movie, right? Like if the movie you end up with ultimately is different from where you even started from, like where you're trying to figure it out as you go along, is like, do you really have that deep of an understanding of the movie at like, or the main thing that I'm trying to say is, what good is your interpretation of the movie if you stumbled into it yourself? You know what I mean? Like if you didn't actually intend to make a thing, then you just have an interpretation of the thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Then is it, we talked about luck earlier, right? Like let's say I didn't intend to get this great shot or like something happened during the filming of the scene that I didn't intend, but it was like magical. Like, is it me having put together these certain people in this certain circumstance at this certain time, at the certain place? Is that part of what allowed that magic to happen? You know what I mean? Is.
I don't doubt that at all.
Even if I didn't intend to it, like it is the right combination of all the right things at the right time and place, right? So, but I don't know. We got to get to what's coming out in June. we go down that rabbit hole forever.
What already came out is so I still haven't seen Fast 10. I don't know why I feel the need to like go out and see this movie. I need to close it out. I need for it to end. First off, like I just need for it to like forget the spin-offs. I'm not watching any of them. I'm sorry. I can no longer go with you.
I did watch Shaw and Hobbs.
No. I did watch. What I'm saying is
spin-offs?
Going for it. I can't. Yeah. There's no reason for me to. Yeah.
These last few are the last ones I'm going to see in theaters. Anything else, if it's on a streaming service and I'm like, home alone one night and it's like let me put something on that I don't really have to pay much attention to.
Dog,
I'll see it.
I already don't read as much as I probably should.
Yeah,
right.
True.
So I'm already dumber than I probably should be.
I could be smarter if it wasn't for Vin Fucking Vin Diesel.
He's actively
stunted my cognitive development with these goddamn movies. Actively
adding to our collective stupidity as a nation.
Yeah.
And as a world, really, if you really think about it. So I want to see Fast 10, just so I can fucking close this thing out. I already saw Little Mermaid. That was okay. But it's also, Little Mermaid's never been my thing. Luckily I went with my partner who she's into it. And I was really happy to she was into it, and I'm like, all right, good.
Yeah, I'm gonna take my daughter to see it. Chloe Bailey, she's like the star of the moment, so really happy for her.
Yeah.
This movie looks good to me. I know my daughter's gonna love it. That's the only.
I'm not gonna lie, I struggled with some of the CGI shit.
Really?
I struggle, dude, mightily. Yeah. But whatever.
Luckily, my 6-year-old is not going to struggle with the CGI.
Dad, is that a green screen, Dad?
Yeah, I'm just going to be there.
Calm down.
A lot of times, whenever I take my daughter to the movies, I'm not even really watching the movie. I'm just watching her enjoy the movie, and that's more fun,
Yeah, that's sort of what it was like for me. Is hearing my partner sing along with some of the songs and shit. Mm-hmm. I was like, all right, this is kind of cool. I don't fucking give a shit about this, but that's cool. John, I still haven't seen Wick 4.
I haven't either, and I'm embarrassed, but I'm actually gonna rent it on.
Is it really? Is it already out on VOD?
Yeah, it's
no. It literally came out 3 weeks ago.
It came out. April.
In a literal
what was
sense.
The release date?
Release date May 23rd.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, that was 2 weeks ago.
I'm pretty sure I can rent it on VOD. I'm pretty sure it was 19. Oh, you know what? You know what's fucking crazy? I looked it up the other night.
Yeah.
They didn't give you the option to rent it. It was you just have to buy it.
It's like a pre-order. No, it had to be a pre-order. There's just no way.
No, listen, I'm telling you, the other night I searched.
Were you sure someone wasn't 3 that you were looking at?
It was 4, John Wick 4.
I don't know, dude.
I think it was 1999 or
somebody
something or it was
up.
$29.99. It's buy. But I'm like, well, I gotta buy it.
The fucking VOD people fucked up. They were like, yo, we weren't supposed to release this. Well, fuck it. It's some hot shit.
I'm looking at it. I'm like, if I buy it, that it'll probably be less than what it would cost to go to the movies.
Yeah.
But why do I gotta buy it? Why can't I rent it?
Well, I think that's a trade-off, right? You got to spend a little more and you own it on some bullshit ass streaming service that you probably won't have in 10 years.
It's yours now. Voodoo TV or something.
Yo, they got me on that shit, Voodoo. So I have a bunch of movies Voodoo. I'm like,
yeah.
What if what if this just goes under? They have to sell their catalog to people or sell their whatever to people because it's what if they go under?
That movie on your network and you sold it to another network.
Now
do I still have my shit?
Yeah, do I have to buy it again or some shit? Come on. So I think I don't know, dog. I feel like we kind of had it right with DVDs and shit. I feel but
DVDs also were
or not DVDs, Blu-rays. I would say Blu-rays.
The environmental impact of
impact.
Come on now.
You drink almond milk.
Remember AOL? Yeah. Listen, that's not perfect. Remember AOL used to just send everyone those discs? That shit it's not biodegradable. There's
but nobody ever throws it away. Everybody still has their AOL disc.
Who? You?
Your mom probably in her basement.
Maybe. Yeah. I don't know. But no, a lot of them are just, especially when AOL went under, they probably had we have 4 million discs for Internet Explorer 2.0. And what are we going to do with these? They're just in a dump somewhere.
The reason why I say your mom, I was
yo, you guys are assholes.
You pieces of shit. The reason why I say your mom,
to watch porn.
I know, right? All things are in service to watch porn. But the reason why I said your mom wasn't because I was trying to make it your mom joke. It's that's how my mom is. She just hoards everything. Where it's just you go into the basement or you go into maybe the room that she's not using. It's just tons of shit that's just this is from 1924. Why is this here?
My mom has a stuffed dog and a stuffed tiger and a stuffed elephant. She's had these literally since we were in elementary school.
Yeah.
And she just won't throw them away. She's like, they're valuable. I'm like, no.
Are they?
Yeah. Not even to me. Not even to us.
We don't even go.
I could probably sell these for lots of money.
Can you though?
Yeah, is that true? Who's gonna buy a 25-year-old stuffed dog?
And it's not even a name brand dog. It's just
it's not a stuffed lassie.
Bought this at Walmart. Just let it go.
I think one she got for free from her job. Here's a stuffed tiger. We just want it gone. And now she's it's valuable. No, it's not.
Oh, hilarious. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which is, of course, the sequel to Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. So that came out this past week. So I'm looking forward to see. There's just a lot of shit that I want to see in theaters.
Yeah.
You know,
I'll give you two that I want to see, and I know you got a list, but there's two I'm excited about.
Yeah.
One of them is the new Transformers movie.
Gross.
I'm going to see that. Mm-hmm. Transformers: Rise of the Beasts.
Does anybody even care what the name of the movie is anymore? Can you name me any of the fucking Rise of the Fallen, Crest of the Fallen?
The only ones I know are like Dark Side of the Moon. Mm-hmm. The Rise of the Fallen, you know, I know that one. There was the ones Age of Extinction.
I hate this fake poetic shit. Rise of the Fallen. Yeah. It's like deep.
That's why I liked Dark Side of the Moon, because I'm like, oh, it's so beautiful and poetic.
But that's just like a name of a Pink Floyd album. That's not. Yeah,
oh, I had no idea.
Yeah, Dark Side of the Moon, and also it's like the literal Dark Side of the Moon.
Yeah. That part I got, where it's like the fucking aliens were on. Like, you know. But anyway, this movie looks good. Rise of the Beasts has Anthony Ramos in it, which I love him. I think he's a great actor. You know, he's been in a lot of really good things lately. Pete Davidson is in this. Ron Perlman. I'm out. And Michelle.
Too many people.
Michelle Yeoh. Who
aren't these all new people to the Transformers? Like nothing's.
Yeah, they just was like, you know, obviously the Mark Wahlberg movies, those are done. I think Mark Wahlberg also said he wasn't going to do any more Transformers movies.
How many was he in?
I think he did 3.
Was he?
Yeah,
I thought it was like 1.
No, I think he did like 2 or 3.
Fuck.
And then, fucking Pete Davidson's in here. So yeah, this is a whole new story. I think this one is like set in like 1994 or something like that.
Gross.
So they're kind of going back in time here. They're not like going into the future. So I don't know. It's a Transformers movie. I'm gonna go see it in theaters because I want the big screen. I want the big explosions and.
Okay, so explain to me.
I don't think Michael Bay's not directing this one, so it's gonna feel and look a little bit different than all the Michael Bay films.
It's not. It's gonna be exactly the same.
And you act like
you act like it's so hard.
I just want the sounds. Just give me Optimus fucking shit up.
Dude,
that's all I care about.
So the reason why I don't think I would ever see another Transformers movie in theaters, and I honestly couldn't tell you the last time I've seen a Transformers movie in theaters, is because you're not offering me anything different. If I've already experienced this once, why the fuck am I going again? So for instance,
listen, when I go to a strip club, where's Alexis? You know, that's the dancer I come here to see. I get the same thing every time. Get the same lap dance every time.
No, you'd ask her to do a different
Transformers
dance.
is.
If you go into the club for like 6 months, right, and the Alexis is doing the same dance for all those 6 months.
Do I like it? If I like to dance,
you're just going to keep going. Why?
So give me 1,000 more ones. She only wants me for my money. The Transformers this is just a strip club movie. It's just like big explosions.
No, I know that.
Car chase scenes. Optimus.
The thing I'll
keep coming.
The thing I'll liken it to is like maybe like the John Wick movies, right? But at least to some degree, I can say with the John Wick movies, there's like some sort of, even if it's like vain and like kind of stupid a little bit, there's at least a storyline to like track there, right? Now it moves like a centimeter, with each movie, right? Like, just no doubt.
We'll give you a little bit of story
just a little bit of story.
We thought about some of it,
just
but then the rest of it's just shoot them up.
Just the crumb of a story here, but at least it gives you something to move the story along, right? The Transformer movies, they're the most incoherent, repetitive. Each movie that's done, it's just you're missing the Allspark, and then it's just we're chasing around people for the Allspark throughout the entire movie. And every movie, it's just the same shit.
Well,
it's just
the
same exact fucking. Oh my
God.
Optimus, I don't give a fuck.
Optimus and the Autobots take on their biggest challenge yet.
Is it the biggest challenge yet?
I think so. I think it's
or is it just the latest movie?
So it's a new threat capable of destroying the entire planet emerges. They must team up with a powerful faction of Transformers known as the Maximals to save Earth.
Never been done.
Yeah,
I've never seen that in a Transformers movie.
I think because what we've seen is like other Decepticons and other like bad robots, you know. And now it's like a whole, it's a planet.
Stop trying to make this.
Who does the Silver Surfer work for?
Galacticus?
Isn't Galacticus like a world-eating planet?
I don't think it's a planet. I think he's like a dude, but I think he can destroy
a massive being, and he he consumes planets.
I don't know, dude.
Yeah.
Sure.
I think, so it's kind of like something like that. It looks good. It's the Transformers movies.
Looks good.
Movies like these I'm going to see in theaters because I want the big action up on the big screen.
To be fair, no, I'm with you. I've said it on this podcast before, is I find no need to go to, like when I was talking about the Jennifer Lawrence movie, it was not necessarily tongue in cheek, but it was just like, am I really probably going to do that? Probably not. probably not.
Yeah.
You know, but I've been on this podcast. I've declared before that to me there is no reason to go to a fucking movie theater to watch like a fucking rom-com. Like it's just pointless.
No.
This is pointless, right? Like if I wanted to do that, I can do that better at home, right? Like if I wanted to watch a rom-com with my girl,
snacks,
we're good.
Cuddle up.
We're good. Dinner's on the way. Like, you know, like we're good. Now you can do that in theaters, but also I don't have to fucking get up, go spend $8,000 to go to go sit in a fucking theater where the seat's going to start making noise as soon as
the D box is what they call it. Every time Optimus.
No, not even that. I'm talking about like you know how you try to like lean back in your seat and it just makes that noise and when you rubbing, I don't need people like shh. I'm just trying to get comfortable with the fuck.
Once my legs go up, my legs are up. I'm not.
I adjust.
And downing it for you to scoot by,
or even if you just mistakenly you just tap it. You know what I mean? And, and it's like people just stare at you like, the fuck,
nigga, this was the best part of the movie.
I miss Optimus. Like, all right, dude.
All right. So one other movie that's coming out that I really want to see is this. So Transformers comes out June 9th, June 16th. The Flash.
Yeah, The Flash.
This looks good.
Looks like it's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, this movie looks fucking great.
Too bad Ezra Miller is at the forefront of it because.
Depending on how well this movie does, they might just have to forgive him for everything.
And you know what? You know what's so interesting about his case is who did we liken him to? I think there was somebody who got in trouble for some shit recently. I think it might have been Jonathan Majors, maybe that they handled his situation.
But let's start filming this Kang Dynasty.
Yeah, I know. Just get it in the can.
Like, start filming today.
Yo, but like obviously, like their situations are handled very differently. One might say is because. You know, Jonathan Majors is black and Ezra Miller is, I don't know what Ezra Miller is exactly, but
he did a lot more shit too. Breaking and entering, assaulting a woman at the bar. A lot more obvious
shit, like shit that's like, there's no ambiguity about this. He did the shit.
Jonathan Majors thing is like
12 different
we don't really know what happened.
Witnesses. You know? Yeah. We
Ezra
still
Miller
know.
did it on camera.
Ezra Miller like fucking wrote it in his journal and then fucking sent just like fucking Rorschach did in The Watchmen, where he sent it into the publication. He's like day one. So I am 100% with you. Depending on how well the movie does, is what's going to happen to Ezra Miller. If the movie is just like gangbusters and like shit is going crazy, I mean, it's what he did that bad.
Early reviews are in that this movie is insanely good. So, you know what I mean? It's like, remember Ben Roethlisberger got in all that trouble? He won a Super Bowl. People were like,
Super Bowl,
I don't know what those women are talking about.
You know, what is assault? Like,
he's a football player. What do you expect?
He's aggressive. He's aggressive by nature. This movie looks absolutely amazing. And it seems like they're doing it really well in terms of just like, how they structured the story, and that it's got a great basis for the story, meaning that, you know, Barry wants to go back because he's playing Barry Allen in this, or is he playing somebody else?
No, I think he's playing Barry Allen. He wants to go back in time to like save his mother or something like that from like an event that happened
from dying. I think.
Dying, right? And then that ultimately is going to like fuck with time and the sequence of time and events that happen. So
Yeah, it looks hot, dude.
Yeah,
it looks
June 30th. We also got another fucking Indiana Jones movie coming out. Who's Harrison Ford?
Yeah.
This dude. It's gonna be like remember
this dude will
what's the movie
not.
with Al Pacino and Robert De Niro?
Yo, shout out to fucking Al Pacino, man.
Oh,
Jesus.
Yeah. Listen, usually in this situation, I would be like, "What are you doing? Getting this young girl pregnant?" So Al Pacino recently, he just had a child with his 29-year-old girlfriend.
It's incredibly sad and honestly super fucking gross. Like that he's having
imagine Al Pacino laying on top of you,
disgusting,
pumping.
I don't mean to be.
He's got a great voice, all of his old lines.
Well, he just gives you like this fucking long ass speech in the middle of having sex. He's like, "Look, I know what we're doing."
No, I don't.
Yeah. Sometimes, you know, when you're having sex, you just gotta think, am I going to fight for that ain't shit? It's like, what? Just nuts.
Are you rehearsing for a movie? Are you like repeating old lines and you're also piping?
You're sweating on me. Stop.
How long do you think Al Pacino lasts at 82?
There's 4 pumps and we're done.
But he probably has the best like tier 1 premium Cialis.
No, you only say that. Well, okay, fair enough.
That like he's able to buy specifically for his genome.
Dude, at that age, man. Look, I know as guys would be like, I want to fuck forever.
He can still get it. He can still get it up at 82.
Yeah, well, there's drugs. But
Listen, with drugs, I'm still happy. Yeah, I'm still proud of him.
But as guys, we're supposed to be like, I want to fuck forever. I want to do this forever. I'm like, no, motherfucker, at 80-some years old. Listen,
she was on top. If I'm Al Pacino, I'm not getting on top.
No, of course you're not. You'll have a fucking heart attack.
Over here.
Yeah, no, naturally. No, naturally. But I'm saying, like, as like, I know it's a thing, right? That we want to stay hard forever, right? But I don't know. Let me go gracefully into the fucking pasture. By that point, dude, she's like 20-some years old. Dude, she's like 2 lifetimes before him, like, or after him rather.
29 years ago when she was born, Al Pacino was old.
There's no way they can even have a coherent conversation. Yeah. Like, there's just no way. There's no way he's saying to her a thing and she's like understanding and able to say something back that he understands. There's no way.
At 82, I don't want to talk to you anyway.
At 82, you can barely talk to anybody. Look, I'm being incredibly ageist here, but Jesus fucking, I'm just trying to point out the absurdity. Now, if say like there's a woman who's like you know, she didn't even get pregnant or anything. She just fucking did a cover on Sports Illustrated. Everybody lost their fucking mind at Martha Stewart.
Oh yeah.
How she was on? She's like I think in her 70s too, or 70s or even
she was
close
good
to 80s.
On that Sports Illustrated cover too.
Yeah. Okay.
That money make you stay young and looking good for a long time.
Yeah, man.
She got some bread.
Yeah, she for days.
Martha got money
for lifetimes.
That money will keep you looking young. I'll bust that down.
I don't know, dude. That's the same thing as Al Pacino. Like,
I need like
you're like Dave Chappelle and Oprah.
I'm drinking straight cognac. I'm doing mushrooms, drinking Hennessy, smoking a blunt. I need all of
That's the same thing as Al Pacino, which is I think it's absurd. I think at that age you just go gracefully, dude.
Listen. By the time we're that age, they're probably the medicine that they're gonna have.
Yeah,
you probably get a surgery.
I don't want it. I don't want it.
You just push the button on your hip.
It's like the people who they're turning like 50 and then they get all like the face fillers and like all this other shit. It's like it's a part of fucking life. Just go gracefully. I don't want the shit that you can press your shit in your
if you have the money, get a hard on. Eat well, work out, go gracefully.
Yeah, just like fuck it.
But let me be real. If I'm 60 and they're like, hey, you can keep fucking, you can keep getting pussy, you can keep fucking these young girls. You just do this little surgery and you download the app, the Dick Hard app.
Genuine.
You can set a timer.
You would be 60 some odd years old and still fucking young women.
If I had the money, for sure.
Why?
I'm gonna download the
what is
the Dick Hard app.
Okay, so here's the thing.
I copyright that, by the way.
Yeah, the Dick Hard app. It's like Maryland Man whiskey.
It's a great idea. I start putting some of this shit to paper.
Yeah. So look, this is going to devolve into an unnecessary conversation, but it's like, dude, like when you pass a certain age, it's like I'm not trying to be ageist in that like old people can't do this, right? But I think it's especially weird when they find significantly younger people. It's different if you're with your partner and you're still fucking cool, right? Like what else are you gonna do? Like there's fucking and eating fucking meatloaf. Like that's all we got, right?
Yeah.
But when you're just getting with progressively younger people at that point, it's just like, what is the actual fucking goal here? That kid is not going to grow up with their father, right? As soon as that kid turns 10, Al Pacino
but that's
dead.
not what we're talking about. In Al Pacino's case,
she's literally pregnant.
Yeah,
she literally just had the kid.
In Al Pacino's case, what I'm talking about, if you're like an older man, let's say you're 60, right? Do I want to? If I'm 60 and I'm not married or whatever, do I want to be fucking 60-year-old women? No.
Yeah. No. What my question is,
buy the boat to fuck 60-year-old women?
That's fine. One of my question is like, okay, like the actual sex is about it's about reproduction, but also it's about pleasure, right? People are looking for pleasure out of it, right? But at a certain point, it's like if I always go to Six Flags, right? If I always go to the strip club, because I know you'll end up bringing that up as a fucking example. If I always go to the strip club, at a certain point, I want to reach a level with the strip club where I'm like, it's a law of diminishing returns here, where I've enjoyed it to a certain degree, and now I'm like, I'm not able. It's like drugs. It's like you do so much drugs. Eventually it just wears off and you're just
why do people keep doing it then?
Because they're addicted in a very unhealthy way.
That's true. But like weed, that's like harder shit. Weed,
people can be addicted to weed.
Well, yeah, I mean,
it's just that it's not as dangerous as all the other drugs.
I'll probably smoke weed the rest of my life. I enjoy it. It makes you feel good.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like highly addictive as long as you do it like with certain controls and whatnot.
Sure.
Like it's just a good thing that I enjoy. Probably enjoy it the rest of my life.
Yeah, but it's like saying you have, I don't know. I feel like it's not analogous because it's like okay, do you want to smoke this one type of weed the rest of your life, or do you want to smoke like all these different weeds? But it's like, different. But I don't. I also don't.
But I might have my one favorite, Sunday Driver. You know what I mean?
I don't know, dude. I do.
That's my go-to, but I want to try different weeds.
But I think the point that I'm trying to make is that at some point it just like if I'm 60 something and like I'm getting with like somebody who's like 20 some odd years old, it's like it's like at this point like there's not going to be like a relationship here. Clearly,
it's not
right?
That's not why we're here.
I know.
I just want to. This is about.
Let me get the thing out. It clearly is not going to be like a relationship. So at that point, it's just fucking. And if you're just fucking, at a certain point, you get to a point where you've fucked them, you fucked other people, you fucked this, you fucked that. It's just like
that sounds great.
Jesus, dude. I don't know. Sex is great. Sex is great. Don't get me wrong.
Listen,
sex is fucking fantastic.
65 and I can get the Dick Hard app and just set the timer. Shorty comes through.
Yeah.
She leaves.
You know somebody's
I left the money on the counter.
You know somebody's gonna hack your shit, right?
Huh?
Somebody's definitely gonna hack your shit. They're just gonna do all sorts of crazy things.
That could be a good problem. Dick Hard at the cafe. Just, hey, someone hacked my dick. Now someone's got to suck it.
I don't think that's the way that works. I don't think that's a good line. That's I'm
in Vietnam.
Yeah,
I don't know.
You're in Vietnam. You're a few wars too late there. I don't think that.
In Vietnam, that beautiful country, Vietnam.
No. Oh, you said you're in. I thought you meant like, I was a part of the Vietnam War or something like that.
Dick Hard, have someone hacked it. Let me get an espresso and a blowjob.
Jesus Christ. You know, say you had to go to like another country. This is how much you disrespect from people from this country, right?
Or I'm in Miami.
Is that yours?
Wherever. I'm in Denver, Colorado.
Yeah, try saying that in Baltimore City. Yeah, you'll fucking
Baltimore City, you could definitely get your dick
sucked. No. You'll definitely get a bottle thrown at your head.
It'll be by a crackhead and they'll charge you $20. And they've got the needle tracks in the arm.
Let's move on. This is getting dark. All right.
Definitely get your dick sucked in Baltimore for $20.
Fair enough. So let's move on from movies that are coming out to talk about what we're watching now. I know there's just like some other like pop culture shit like going on, but or at least let's do it this way. Let's touch really quickly on some of the things that have happened since we've been gone. A lot has happened. One of the most notable is the world lost a fucking icon. Tina Turner passed away last week, I believe. To say that she had a very specific, because I've gone back and I've watched we did a review of the documentary that was done for her by HBO, I believe. That got me to thinking, even back then when I was like rewatching that clip, about how much of an impact that she's had on me, even though obviously like I haven't really when I was younger, she had a significant impact on me, but I haven't like gone back and like made it a point until recently. I haven't gone back to like watch or listen to her music, but now she's like number one on my playlist for like the 80s of like all the 80s songs that I fuck with. Yeah. She's like literally like the first like 10 tracks are like fucking Tina Turner tracks, right? But also the movie, What's Love Got to Do With It, had such a profound impact on me and my family for various reasons. And I'm glad that she was able to share not only her story as it relates to Ike, but just her story, period, in that who she was as a woman outside of Ike and got to experience what that life was like, that she got to be, at least in some ways, divorced in a literal sense as well as in a figurative sense from Ike Turner, that she got to like live her own life, you know,
like her second life.
And
she
like
was like loved, not just like used for her talent.
Exactly. The world lost a really great talent. And I'm not sure if there's really going to be anybody else like her in that, both of what she went through, but also the historic music that she was able to create. Simply, or the best, dog, that might be the hottest track from like the 80s.
Which one?
Simply the best. Dun, dun, dun. better
I would
than
debate
all the rest.
that. But I love Tina Turner's music, so
Yeah.
I don't want to use this moment to like debate whether or not that was the best. She was a star. She was an icon. Here's what I love about this whole story, right?
Yeah.
Like she knew as she was aging, like age and illness, right? She knew that like her days were numbered. So like she made sure that before her passing, she got all of her affairs in order, right? What a great way to like finish your story. Like there's no mess. You're not leaving your family in a situation where they're like fighting against like the state or the government or among each other for like, your
This isn't Succession.
Yeah, exactly. It's not going to be like one of those things where there's fighting and feuding among the family. It's like, I'm going to make sure my affairs are in order because my days are, numbered. And I'm going to leave my family and my loved ones, everyone with like a little piece of something to remember me by and to carry on. And it's going to be clean. It's going to be easy. It's going to be simple. And like, that's how her and her husband, that's what she did in her, I believe in like the final year prior to her death, which is, I think it's just a smart way to do it. I can imagine it put her at ease so I can just enjoy everything now.
Yeah.
I'm not fucking talking to lawyers and talking to the publicists and the publishing companies. Like I've already settled my estates. I've handled all of my business and I'm just going to enjoy my final days. I just thought that was a beautiful way to go.
Absolutely. Yeah. So,
that's a big estate too. $250 million, I believe.
Yeah, I think she sold her catalog right before she, or not right before, but at some point before she passed, she sold it for like $50 million, which I thought was like.
Well, I think her total estate
like
was
low. Her total estate, but she sold her catalog.
Her music catalog. Yeah. She also sold a home she had in Switzerland. It was a $76 million home. She sold that.
Yeah, I don't even know what $76 million.
Yeah.
What does that even look like?
Yeah. What the? Yeah.
It's just everything just fucking gold plated. You just fucking toothbrush.
You don't even like the room shifts according. Like I want to walk into the room and it knows my
like
body temperature.
I don't have to move. In the room itself.
$76 million home, I'm never cold. I'm always the perfect temperature. Always. The room recognizes my body temperature and shifts.
Yeah, or the room fucking just reads your mind. Is like. You want to be a little cold right now. You want to use the covers tonight. All right, bet.
Yeah. There's always fresh lemonade in every room. I don't know how it got there, but it's always there. It's just there. It's never even been refrigerated, but it's still the
definitely got a coaster under it.
Yeah.
No droplets anywhere on the table.
Oh my God, I would wipe my ass with silk.
I don't think I would do that. Silk. I don't. How do you flush that? No. I don't know. I don't want to throw it away. That's gross.
Someone else will wash
recycle it. Jesus, I don't. Shit stained silk. I don't think that's recyclable.
Enough that I don't have to answer these questions. Okay, this is $76 million estate.
Okay. So some other things to talk about. We're just gonna kind of blow through these. I haven't watched it yet, but fuck everybody for ruining this for me. The Rock is back in the Fast and Furious franchise. Fuck everybody who's ruined this. I fucking hate you because that would have been the best surprise at the end because I knew it was coming, but I didn't need to confirm.
He's in the next film.
He's like, in the film that's out now. Maybe I'm ruining it for you, so maybe I'm saying fuck myself.
I mean, Fast and Furious, like,
who cares?
Tell me the entire movie, like I don't care. I'm probably still gonna watch it because I want to see the stupid shit they do.
Yeah,
but like, there's nothing that's gonna be like,
Well, okay. So I always knew, and we talked about this a while ago. I just always knew, and maybe I said this, maybe I didn't. I hope I did to prove myself right. But I just always had a feeling this was a work, meaning that like in wrestling they have like they have things that are called shoots, which are like when people are like being like for real, like whether they say something behind the scenes or even like on camera that's like, oh shit, they weren't like, this is like a real thing. And then they have works where this is where we're pretending here, but you might think it's real, right? I always knew this was a work because as soon as The Rock started calling him a candy ass and Rudy Poo, I was like, this isn't real.
Do you think they faked the entire beef?
Or no, I think that they did have a beef, but I don't. What I don't know is if they like worked together. But I just knew that. What could Vin Diesel have done to The Rock that fucking bad? Where he's like, "Fuck your millions of dollars. I don't give a shit. Fuck you. I'm not coming on your set
Not let
again."
him take over the franchise and become the main guy.
Challenging
me.
Yeah,
I feel like The Rock's probably a really arrogant dude. Vin Diesel's like, "Hey, this is my movie."
No, I've heard Vin Diesel's a prick. Like I've heard this, not just from The Rock, but just literally from like everybody who's not currently on payroll from Fast and Furious, and even some people who actually are.
Right. So you take two big assholes, you put them in a room.
Exactly,
they're probably gonna have a falling out.
Exactly.
But then they realize
but what could be that bad where he was that fucking mad? Where it's just like, absolutely, I would never work with you again. And then there was a point where Vin Diesel was like, "Yo, for your little nephews and nieces," because Vin Diesel was talking about his own kids, of just like they really when they miss their Uncle Dwayne or The Rock or whatever the fuck he called him. And he was like, and Rock was like, "Don't bring your kids into this," and it's like, yo, chill the fuck out, dude. Like, what is it? Like, what is it? Right? So here's my going theory. Either it's always been a work, meaning that they've always been on it together, and they're like, all right, let's look before the fucking movie, let's just have this falling out, right? Because this is how they would do it in wrestling. This is what The Rock's mentality would be for wrestling, right? Of just like, yo, make it seem like we really fucking actually hate each other, right? And then I'm going to be in the fucking end credits of Fast 10, and then that's going to lead to a whole thing of people actually wanting to see the last two or one movie or two movies, whatever. The next 12 movies, because they'll just never end this franchise. Or the other theory, which I'm less inclined to believe, but still kind of makes sense, is The Rock saw what happened with this Black Adam shit and saw shit shifted pretty dramatically. And now I just read an article, or at least saw the headlines for an article, where they were talking about how The Rock can't really get movies like greenlit. Like he's having a hard time getting movies greenlit. So he's like, well, you know, that $1 million franchise that
I left. Let's go back there.
You know what? What is a prick anyways? Like what is that really, if you think about it? It's a penis. We all have penises, right? Or at least half the fucking human species, they have penises, right? It's fine. Some people are just, you know, catch them on a certain day, just, it's fine. And then he's just like, all right, let me go back to the shit.
Yeah, I mean, that's my theory too. Like, I think when we look at what happened with the film Black Adam, not getting the type of, accolades that like he probably anticipated, it's The Rock. He probably thinks like, this is going to be the biggest movie ever. It's going to be bigger than any Marvel movie. Like, I am going to be the new face of the DCU, right? Well,
it wasn't just like the accolades. It was the fact that it's not going to he's not going to spur any more sequels. It's not going to do anything, right? Because they brought James Gunn in. So he basically deaded all that shit and was like, everything we had going, fuck that shit. And he also had a falling out with the actual people that I think that he, like with Warner Brothers, even outside of the James Gunn thing, because he basically tried to take over the whole DC universe, and they were like, no.
No.
Which I kind of side with The Rock there. It's just like, man, y'all niggas weren't doing anything with it. Like, y'all was just sputtering.
But I don't know if I know The Rock is like a big like movie star, but I don't know if like if I'm the head of the studio, I'm not gonna let you. I think he was trying to not only be the star, but also like, hey, I'm gonna let me take all of this over and tell this story. Like, bro, I don't even think you read the comic books. Like, the fuck are you talking about? James Gunn was brought into DC. He pretty much panned all of the projects that weren't already in production or like already announced and said, hey, we're gonna kind of start fresh, right? So that means The Rock as Black Adam was more than likely not gonna be a part of the DCU future. So if you're like, hey, my last 2 or 3 movies haven't done that well, I need to get back into another project because he's an actor. It's like, recency bias is a real thing, right? It's like, I need to have seen you do some work recently in order to still think you're that guy. So what's the quickest, fastest, easiest way to get back on the big screen? Fast 10, right? He probably didn't make the call. It's probably a little bit too like, have my publicist set up the call, or have my manager, my agent set up the call, with Vin and the team from the Fast and Furious franchise. Let me get in the end credit scene or something like that, reintroduce me back into the storyline, and then get a spinoff.
Yeah, hold on. My mic is not working.
Mic went up? Now, granted, let's say that is what happened, right? Good for him in that, he was able to, string this thing together. And I'm not sure if it was actually announced or if it's just a rumor that he is, in fact, getting, a Hobbs spinoff. Not like Shaw and Hobbs, but just Hobbs himself. If he was able to somehow finesse this deal, good for him. Sometimes you got to talk yourself into the job.
Yeah.
No.
Can you still hear me?
I cannot hear you through the mic.
Check. 1, 2. Test. Audio test. No.
Nope. Lost audio.
Yeah. All right.
I feel like everybody needs, there's a certain level of confidence there. I'm just going to keep talking while you, there's a certain level of confidence there to be like, hey, I know it's like imagine quitting your job and coming back later on and be like, you guys are lucky to have me back. And as a part of that, I don't just want my old job back. I want a new I want a new title and a new office. And you guys are lucky to have me back. And they're like, whoa, you quit. You chose to leave. We didn't fire you or anything like that. But I feel like that's probably how he approached the whole thing. I could be wrong. I don't know. He could be the most humble guy in the world. I just don't believe that's the case. But anyway, Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, is back in the Fast and Furious franchise.
Yeah.
I thought we were going to have like this movie, Fast 10, and then Fast 10 Part 2. It looks like they're never going to stop doing these things.
No, they'll do these for the rest of fucking time.
Yeah. And then there's going to be spin-offs coming. There's going to be backstory. They're going to do Fast and Furious like 80s or 90s or something like that.
Hold on. Let me check to see if this is actually working. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Check.
Still. Who else should be brought into the Fast and Furious franchise?
10, 9, 8.
At that point, just bring everybody.
I mean, they basically have like fucking half of Hollywood in the fucking Fast and Furious.
I'm surprised.
Like Brie Larson, fucking Jason Momoa, Charlize Theron, fucking Helen Mirren.
Yeah, Helen Mirren. But that makes sense. She's
does it like fucking make sense? No, I know from the start. Why does she make sense in the Fast and Furious? She doesn't. Fucking Jason Statham, like fucking Russell Crowe.
Was Russell Crowe
the other Russell guy. The fucking
who plays Jason Statham's brother?
No. He was with there and he like had like the son in it.
Fucking.
It was Kurt Russell. Yeah, Kurt
Russell was in there.
Yeah.
We've got John Cena.
John Cena's fucking
Vin Diesel's brother. They don't look at all alike.
Also, he's talked about family for literally the entire thing.
Turned his back on his old family.
He had a brother at a certain point.
Yeah. Oh no, wait. Was he The Rock's brother? No, he was Vin Diesel's brother.
Vin Diesel.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't actually watch the movie, so I don't know. But from what I understand, he's Dom's brother.
The last one was they were in Hawaii, driving Mustangs through the jungle in Hawaii, like it was like that kind of vehicle is built to off road. Yeah. Like you're not just casually driving a Mustang 120 miles per hour through the jungle in Hawaii. Like, no, you're not even driving a Jeep Wrangler at that speed through the jungle.
Laws of physics, dude. They don't give a shit. So yeah, I think this whole thing with the Fast and Furious, I think it feels like it was a work, but who knows? Either way, The Rock is back. So I guess hooray team. Okay, let's move on to some other things. Danny Marston found guilty of the R word, and he's gonna go away. Dude's gone.
This guy's gone. So R word. He was convicted and found guilty of essentially like raping two women in court. I believe he's already been arrested and is in custody and has been taken to jail where he will begin his stint with the girl who's the woman, the CEO. Who remember the CEO who was found guilty of like fraud. Holmes, something like Rebecca Holmes, Jessica Holmes.
Fucking, she was the head of Theranos. Elizabeth Holmes.
Yeah. And like they took photos of her when she was like essentially turning herself in to begin her, and like she was like walking into the prison smiling like this shit is gonna be a game. She's doing like what 10, 15 years or something like that.
She's doing a bid, dude.
Yeah. I don't know what you're smiling about. If I'm a prisoner in there and it's like, you think this is sweet? I need that fucking. I need your cornbread. I need your milk.
You forget she's pretty wealthy. At least she was wealthy. So
yeah, but this is different than like let's say fucking like who's I don't know. Let's say fucking Lionel Richie goes to prison, right? Like I don't know what he did, but let's say Lionel Richie goes to prison. Like he was like a well-known, well-liked person who like it was a celebrity musician. If he goes to prison for doing some bad shit, people are still probably like, hey, like, I like your old shit. You'll be fine here. Yeah. But she is just a woman who essentially lied her way to the top, right?
Yeah. I mean, why does that matter in America? It doesn't.
You're right. But I don't feel like the prisoners are really going to be looking at her like, we love you and respect you. You're a celebrity in some way.
Let me put it this way. Fucking Bernie Madoff went to prison, right? And he ended up, I think, just running another scheme in prison.
Really?
Like with like the prisoners. And so like,
damn, I kind of like this guy. Yo, if you're able to, if they know what you did, you can still do it in prison.
Yeah. I think that's the case. I could be just making some shit about talking out of my ass, but I'm pretty confident. Like I remember hearing a story that he was just like doing some other shit like in prison.
Yeah,
but
I don't think they're gonna be fighting for their lives. I don't think Elizabeth whatever is gonna be fighting for her life in there and shanking somebody. But this Danny Masterson dude, people are probably gonna be like, yo, like. Rape is not something that they take lightly in jail. He's going to have to be like put in like a certain area.
A third of the dudes are probably in there from some sort of assault.
Yeah, but like if the guys who are in there for like assault, robbery, like murder, drugs or whatever, then first of all, let's say I'm in prison for like selling drugs, right?
Yeah.
You're not putting a rapist in a cell with me.
Yeah.
Fuck
fair.
this dude up.
That's fair.
Anyway, not in that way.
Yeah. So the only reason why I even bring that up is because I was, apparently Scientology's power doesn't go that fucking far.
Yeah, he was a part of the Church of Scientology and all that shit, right?
It doesn't go as far.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless you're Tom Cruise. So Taika Waititi, he's basically just talking about like the advent of like AI and shit like that, and how filmmakers are going to be like obsolete in decades. At least that's what I think. I just read the
So like his comment was like, so he was doing an interview and he was talking about like what's his next film? Oh, some computer just died or turned off. So I can't read his exact quote. I think my charger, it's a different one. Yeah, I don't have the fancy new one. Anyway, so he was saying like, I'm 47 now and like, I'm getting a little bit older in Hollywood. Like I understand, basically the gist of it was like, I understand that like, in 30, 40 years, like no one is really going to give a fuck. Right. Mm-hmm. And the question he asked was like, who directed Casablanca? Right. Yeah. Arguably like, touted as one of the greatest films of all time. Nobody remembers who the director was, and because the director is not really who you're going to the film to see anyway, or who you're going to the movies to see. Like, I love certain directors. I love that work that they produce, but it's the film that people like, right? And let's be real. Unfortunately, the people on the screen, those are really the stars of the film. So I think his thing is like, there's a lot of pressure too in like making a film for the actors and actresses, right? Like let's say you're The Rock and Black Adam doesn't do well. Who do we look to? Like, oh, that movie didn't do well. The Rock, like the movie should do better. I don't know who directed Black Adam.
No, and that's a fair thing to say, but I would argue that it matters who the emphasis is placed on. And what I mean by that is nobody might not remember who directed Black Adam, but if I were to tell you Back to the Future, I don't
know who directed that.
It wasn't Steven Spielberg, although he produced it. It was
James Cameron.
No, Zemeckis.
I don't even know who that
Robert Zemeckis. Either way, what I'm saying is whatever movie or whatever director who's filmed like Quentin Tarantino, one of his movies, right?
Sure, yeah. But I would say that's because he's also been in a lot of his films, right? So we get to see him, and he directed it.
Life Aquatic. You might not know, but like Wes
Anderson.
Wes Anderson. Or any Paul Thomas Anderson film, right? Mm-hmm. Or like what I'm saying is like if you're a certain director. Yeah, like you're more well known than stars in your film. So if your film bombs, people are going to blame you. Sure, generally speaking. But if you're an unknown director, or if you're just like a low key director, like nobody could really differentiate your stuff from like, I don't know, just like any other random movie out there. Then yeah, people aren't going to know you. They're going to know the more popular proponent of the movie. There are some movies out there who nobody's actually famous in it, but it's the actual story itself. That's why people remember it, right? And so I would argue that it just depends. Like it's not. I don't think it's a cookie cutter thing of just like
for sure, yeah. And this was just his opinion, right? He's just saying like I don't think in 30, 40 years from now, like. As a director, people aren't necessarily going to remember that you directed this film. What they're going to remember is like, did they enjoy the film? And I think there's truth to that, right? Like,
but that's just my favorite. That's a weird thing to say. Is like I feel like people are going to enjoy his movies. Like, so for instance, what's it called? Jojo Rabbit, I believe. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I'll forever remember that Taika Waititi directed that movie.
I had no idea.
He's in the movie. Like, he plays Hitler.
I haven't seen it, but I still had no idea he directed. And even the films he's like the Star Wars films he's made, or like I think he directed the Thor Ragnarok, right?
Yeah.
you know, it's when people watch Thor Ragnarok, they're like Chris Hemsworth, you know.
But I'm not arguing with you from that standpoint. I'm saying you're correct, but that's only like part of the story. Is that some movies, the whoever the actor or actress is,
like a Christopher Nolan film, right? It's a Christopher Nolan.
Barely remember who's in Christopher Nolan movies, but you remember that it's a Christopher Nolan movie. You know what I mean? Like, he's worked with so many people in Hollywood, but you like, I guess.
But I think it is because like he and the studios and his projects are so big. He's had the success record to where people like know his name as a director now. Yeah. And so anytime he does a movie, it's like this is a Christopher Nolan film, right?
But that's what I'm saying for any director who's made that their thing, right? Like, so for instance, when the Coen brothers, when they make a movie, right? They're the marquee thing on there, right? Like, it's a Coen brothers movie, right? Like, that's the first thing that's going to jump out at you is that it's a Coen brothers movie. If fucking who's the guy behind Beetlejuice? They're actually working on another Beetlejuice. Tim Burton. If Tim Burton comes out of the movie, it's a Tim Burton movie. Like, I don't give a fuck who's in it, right?
Yeah. What would you prefer? Like, let's say you're a director, you're in Hollywood, right? Would you rather be like, hey, I work on projects quietly. I'm not like above the film. It's not like this is a Tunde film, so a Rain film. That's what you prefer?
100%. Why would I want the notoriety of like and then I can't just like if I wanted to fucking walk down the street and go to like fucking Costco, I can't.
Yeah,
because
I would want the success. Like I want my movies to be very successful, but like
nobody knows who the fuck I am.
Yeah. I think, and for some people, they do want the celebrity and the fame, right? Or they want the celebrity, right? I just want the money.
People are insane.
I want to be able to express like my art and do my work and like have it go out and people use it, they like it, they enjoy it, blah blah blah. But I can still go get a coffee without people like, following me.
I want to be famous. I want everybody to know me. I'm like,
fuck that.
Didn't Eminem already go through this with you? I can't even fucking be with my daughter without you bastards.
Oh my God.
I can't take a shit without somebody.
Could you imagine being out with like your kid or whatever? You're just trying to eat. You're trying to have lunch. And then people come up and they're taking pictures. Can you sign this? And like they're touching your kid. I'm like, get the fuck out of here.
I like to think of myself as a very cool-headed prick. Like when it comes, because I really enjoy like my privacy. I really like going places and just being like, nobody fucking.
Yeah. Whenever celebrities like go off or like, snap at people, like I fucking get it. Like it must be infuriating at times. Unless you're a Kardashian, then you're like, I love this shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I could see the card. Computer died here.
Yeah. Okay. So to just talk about some other things super quick. Black Mirror is coming out with another season 6. This looks really interesting. I know you're not that much of a you didn't really watch Black Mirror, but I think it's an incredible show. I wonder if this is going to, like, for the last couple seasons, it's been like, I don't know if this is really it.
Yeah.
But it's still a really good show. So the fact that they're coming out with a 6th season is pretty fucking dope. What have you been watching lately?
Lately, I think the number one thing I've been watching is a show called Silo on Apple TV.
Silo, okay.
Who is... I'm going to forget her name. She was in the movie with the guy from Ghostbusters.
Are you talking about not Susan Sarandon? The more recent Ghostbusters or?
The more recent. Rashida Jones.
Oh, Paul Rudd?
No. So she was with.
You're talking about the all women Ghostbusters. You're talking about.
So Rashida Jones is in this show, and she starred in the movie on Apple TV with the guy from like Groundhog Day, Ghostbusters, Bill Murray. Yeah. So this show, really interesting show. It focuses on. I'm just going to read from this thing, right? It's in a ruined and toxic future, a community exists in a giant underground silo that plunges hundreds of stories deep. There, people live in a society full of regulations they believe are meant to protect them, right? So, and this TV show stars Rebecca Ferguson, who was in Dune, Rashida Jones, Tim Robbins, David Oyelowo. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Common's in this show. It's a pretty solid cast of people, but it's a very interesting show in that, like...
Do you remember him? He had a run, dude.
Common?
No, David... I forget how to pronounce his last name. Is Oyelowo.
Oyelowo, yeah.
Yeah. But remember, he played MLK?
Yes, yeah. Damn, that was him. Yeah, he played MLK in Salma. He was in Queen of Katwe. He's Kingdom Silo.
He was in that.
He was in The Butler.
The bullshit ass fucking what's the franchise? You know what I'm talking about. what's the found footage franchise? The one where it's like the monsters come.
Oh yeah, the fucking I know what you're talking about. Like
10
Clover Lane or something like that.
Cloverfield.
I don't see this in his thing. He was also in Jack Reacher.
Well, Jack Reacher. Like the
with,
show?
The movie with Tom Cruise, the first one.
Anyway,
so Silo, I've been watching that on Apple TV.
Yeah.
Apple TV has like some pretty good shit on there. This show's really good. I think
they're about to drop a bomb, dude.
What they got coming?
That fucking Killers of a Flower Moon.
With, with Scorsese and DiCaprio and
everybody. De Niro's in that bitch.
Yeah,
I think Pacino's just like.
Well, they got the money. Richest company in the history of the world. Yeah. But yeah, so the show Silo, I highly recommend it. It's like the first episode is like instantly draws you in. Yeah. And it has like a really interesting premise. It's like, so these people wake up in the silo, right? And they've been there for 140 years. They don't know how they got there. They don't have any memory of like what happened to them, where they came from, who they are. They just woke up at this silo that was already built. It's it already has like electricity and like food sources, and they just wake up there and they're just like, hey, we got to figure this shit out, right? And so naturally, what are people going to do? They're going to form like government. They're going to like develop some type of hierarchy, right? However, what's happening now is the hierarchy, right? The higher ups, the governors, the mayors, the police chiefs. It's starting to unfold that they're keeping information from these people, right? So they all think outside is toxic. As soon as you step outside, you breathe in the air, you die, right? But like that might not be real. So
this sounds like the same plot from fucking what's that Tom Cruise movie? Oblivion.
Oblivion.
Yeah. How's that shit?
Similar, except for all like the fighting and the weird future shit, but like similar, right? It's like we all live here. We're told that we have to live here. We don't know why we're here. The people up top are keeping information from us, and then you have this like new cop played by Rebecca Ferguson, who's like, she's trying to like unfold and solve the, there's some murders that have happened. There's the mystery of like, why are they keeping information from us? It's a really good show. Great acting, great cast. It looks beautiful. The production, it's a very, very interesting, cool show, and that's the main thing I'm watching right now.
Nice. Yeah, I'm in the middle of watching. I'm trying to finish up Maisel. Just finished up Succession, which the series finale was like maybe a couple of weeks ago. Succession's it's a great show. Everybody has various opinions on it in terms of like how they feel about it. But I think it's a show. It's a show that you can truly watch in whatever capacity you want to watch it, on whatever level you want to. You could think oh my god, like there's so many deeper meanings, or you can think it's a very surface show where there's like a lot of surface-level, meanings and themes.
Or it's just purely entertainment. Yeah,
it's just purely entertainment. You can watch it really on whatever level you want to watch it on. But I really fucking enjoyed Succession. It ended in a very bleak way in that nothing changes. Really.
Yeah, that's what I've been hearing about the show. Is like the ending for a lot of people. Who's the main, like the son of like the his name in the show is Ken Roy. Yeah, I hear the way that the story comes to the end for him. It's just like this like abyss of like nothingness. Yeah,
it is sort of like this abyss of nothingness. Played by Jeremy Strong, by the way. Mm-hmm. It is this abyss of nothingness. It's a shame that we don't get to see like kind of like how the story unfolds then, because I think that's probably, in my opinion, the more interesting story, is because we kind of knew it was coming to this. So there's no pleasing anybody, right? If you end the show exactly the way everybody wants it to end, we're like, oh, boring. This isn't. Yeah. This isn't.
This is like on to the next
whatever,
show.
Right? If you end the show completely opposite of everybody wants, everybody's like, no, how come you didn't do the thing we actually wanted you to do, right? Now I'm sure like different people are saying this. There's some people who are going to enjoy one versus the other, but I think people are just very loud about whatever they object to.
Yeah.
The way that they ended Succession was very sort of like, they gave you hope that it wasn't going to end exactly the way that you probably would have predicted that it would end, but then it just then is like a about face where it's just like, just kidding, it's going to end exactly the way you thought it was going to. Yeah. Which was discomforting in that it makes at least for me, it made the commentary that change is very hard and rarely are we truly capable of true change. And in most cases, we're just going to regress to whatever our natural tendencies are. And that's a bleak outlook on the world, especially like right now with how fucked up the world is. You think like, okay, maybe there's like a silver lining somewhere here, right? And it's like, nah, No.
Yeah, it's just going to stay the same.
Yeah, it's just going to stay the same.
So I watched the first 3 episodes of Secessions. I couldn't really get into it. I'm going to give it another try just because I've been hearing people say a lot of really good things about the show. So I'm going to add it back to my list. I'm also watching Dave, season 3.
Yeah, everybody's making noise about that. Everybody says it's amazing.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. Season 1 was great. Season 2 was a little bit like, it was up and down. It was like some episodes were great. Some episodes were like, I didn't love it. Yeah. Season 3, I can't lie, every fucking episode has been like a banger. Just great episode. And like, I think I'm on the season finale now. They just got a whole bunch of stars in it. Rachel McAdams, Don Cheadle makes an appearance, Drake, Jack Harlow, MGK, his wife, I forget her name. Megan Fox. Yeah. Like these last couple episodes, they've had a lot of stars in it, but like not just for the sake of having stars in it. It's like it's adding to the story in like a really like interesting, like fun way. Right? They do it in a very fun way, which I like. So Dave is good. I feel like I'm also watching another show. So Dave, Silo, fucking Love Island. And they're coming out with a new season. Like, oh my God, it's like an addiction. Like, I want to stop it. I just don't know how to stop.
Yeah, dude, you gotta go to a 12-step program.
Fucking Casa Amor this season was great. Like,
dude, so the reason why I could only do these particular shows, it's not because I feel like I used to like kind of look down on these type of shows, right? But in truth, it's literally what I get out of the show. Sometimes it produces very interesting conversations that you might, especially if you're in the middle of a relationship, it will produce like some interesting conversations. Right? Yeah. The problem though is that from season to season, it's kind of like the same shit, right? And so it's like the more seasons you get into it, the more you just realize like, oh, like this is kind of just the same shit.
This stuff is pure entertainment.
So many fucking hours.
Yeah, like, it's so like 50 episodes. I liken this to like, if you like any dating show, you just have to pick what you like, right? Some people like The Bachelor, some people like The Bachelorette, some people like, to be honest, that's the only other one I know. What's another dating show?
The one I just watched was Love is Blind.
Love is Blind. Yeah. The Circle or something like that. Or like there's so many fucking dating shows. It's insane. The reason why I like UK Love Island is one, they sound funny, right? But they would say the same thing about us. They're like, Americans, you sound funny, right? So they sound funny. And then like everything is dramatized, right? Because they're just like in this bubble.
Disrespecting people. You sound funny.
People from the UK would say Americans sound funny. Like especially if you're like Southern, if you're like from Texas and you go to to the UK, people are like, what the fuck did you just say? I understand that it's pure entertainment value. I just like the shit that they get into, the little silly arguments.
I think, again, like that's not my objection because it's whatever. I just finished watching Love is Blind, but I would argue that Love is Blind is like 10 episodes, and so it's like we get up, we get down. Is long. Love Island is literally like each fucking season is no joke, like 40 to 50 episodes.
Yeah, you know why in the UK there's an episode that comes out every day.
Fucking insane.
Yeah.
What are we like? No, nobody should be spending their life with
So that's why they do it so much. It's like, we're gonna lock you in for like 50 days out of the year with this new season.
Fuck, dude.
So it's like every night at 8 p.m. UK Love Island comes on in the UK. Well, they don't call it UK Love Island. They just call it Love Island. It's so, like, do they call Chinese food in China?
Because they call US Love Island is like Love Island. I don't know, whatever fucking state that they're doing it in, right? Or do they call it the?
I think it's just Love Island, and then it's just like the country.
Yeah. So they do that for all the countries,
but in America, we just say it's Love Island. We wouldn't say it's U.S. Love Island.
I would wager that a lot of people watch probably a lot more than the U.S. version of Love Island. They probably watch the UK version or whatever other fucking.
Yeah, but in those countries, like in Australia, they have Love Island. They probably just call it Love Island.
Like, so when you say Love Island in the U.S., nobody's going to really think you're talking about the U.S. Love Island. Everybody's going to be like, "Oh, did you watch fucking Tommy Fury on season?" No,
if you're watching Love Island in the U.S., I would think you're watching the U.S. Love Island, right?
No,
if you're watching a foreign country one, like what country?
I get which argument you make. I get the argument. That's sad. Okay, so I wanted to state that. Second thing I want to state is I'm currently watching. Like I said, I just finished watching Succession. I just got to see season 6 of Rick and Morty. Movies I just watched. Little Mermaid. I want to go see Fast 10, as pathetic and sad as that is to say, as well as the movie that's coming out, or The Flash that's coming out.
Next week. Got to see that for sure.
And also too, I want to see Across the Spider-Verse, which just came out this past week.
Even Tom Holland said it was the best Spider-Man movie ever.
And that's fair.
Yeah, I mean, if he now, mind you, if he said it wasn't,
like
my movies were the best movie.
That shit. Fucking hater, dude. That's some shit that I don't think that's a level of fucking, you're sucking yourself off there.
The shit that I did was the best.
Yeah, like come on, like you don't need to say that shit too. Like your shit came out like 3 years ago. Relax, dude. You know what I mean? So I got a lot of shit that I'm watching that I'm into. I think the shit that I'm probably looking forward to most this summer, it's a toss-up.
There's a lot of shit coming out this year.
I think the movie that I'm most looking forward to is probably Oppenheimer, because I have a feeling it's going to be really different than a lot of Nolan's other movies.
This is his first R-rated film in like many years, right?
Oh, I didn't even know if it was R-rated.
Yeah, I believe it's the first. I could be wrong. I think it's 20 years.
I think I might have heard something like that.
Yeah.
Probably since like either Memento or what's the movie he did with Al Pacino? It's like Insomnia. Yeah. So it's probably one of those that is probably R-rated.
Damn, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, that was early 2000s. That was his second movie, I think, that he did past. Because that's basically where they gave him like they're like, if you do this favor for us, then you can do whatever the fuck you want. And then he's like, bet, I'll do that, crush it, give me the next shit.
Yeah.
And he fucking and then and then he did, I think, The Prestige after that, and then he, I think, solidified his place and then did the Dark Knight, or the Batman Begins.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to Oppenheimer because I'm looking to see, of the last like 2 movies that I've seen of Nolan's, not my faves. Maybe even 3 movies. Dunkirk was a good movie.
I've never seen Dunkirk.
Not my faves. Tenet, good movie. Not my faves.
I think I've seen Tenet twice.
Were you confused more or less the second time you watched it?
No, I got it like from the first time for the most
Did
part.
you get it?
Yeah, I mean, it's
not. That's not an insult to you. I'm just saying it's a very hard movie to grapple with.
Yeah, I think they do a pretty good job towards the end of the film at explaining like what's going on. Like they wrapped it up really well. You understand who John David Washington's character is in relation to like Robert Pattinson's character. He's the boy who he raised and recruited into the program.
I don't know if you understand. The only reason why I got that is because then I looked at I saw a bunch of like theories and things like that after it. I didn't understand at all like watching it
in the movie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Was it implied? Like how was it implied?
Like it wasn't implied. You're right about that. But like at the end, he kind of explains to him like, how do I know you? How do we meet? And he's like, he kind of in a way explains his relationship to him. It's kind of like when Batman said to Commissioner Gordon, like when you lost your parents and all you need is someone to put a coat over you.
Sure.
Yeah, he implied it, but it wasn't up until that moment. I didn't know, and then when he said it, I was like, oh, okay, he's the boy.
Yeah, I think my biggest problem with Nolan movies, and that why I've kind of like, for the longest time I would say like he's my favorite director. I think why that's kind of fallen away from me is because I realized I need from the characters than just logic. And I think that's what a lot of his movies are based on, is just logic. And the feelings are kind of like, I guess we have to have some feelings in here. So, let's develop a system where that's allowed.
Yeah.
But in reality, it's just like, how does this thing work mechanically? And I think first movie you do that, dope. Second movie you do that, dope. Third movie, do you not have anything else?
Yeah. So you're never emotionally invested into like the characters and like their stories or their relationships with each other.
Invested in the sense that like this is fucking some dope shit.
Yeah.
And it makes me think about like how time works, how yada yada. But it's not like the only movie that I can feel like I kind of felt like that with was maybe Interstellar a little bit. That was like probably the most emotional that I've seen his movies get, and I would argue that's probably due more to Matthew McConaughey's performance than it was anything a factor of like the script.
That was amazing. Great movie.
Great movie. Shout out to Addy, who just recently. Hey, this is a true mark of a true fucking man, right? When you can have an opinion for like 6 years, 7 years, almost like a decade. He's had this opinion, right? And recently there was like a video that was like kind of like an explainer piece for Interstellar that was explaining like a whole bunch of like shit with it. Some shit that I kind of like already understood, but they were able to put it in a way. Sent it to Addy, and I was like, yo, you might want to give this movie like another look with these things in mind.
Yeah.
And then he did, and then sure as fuck, he hit me back like, yo, all right. That shit wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Like, it actually slapped a little bit, you know? Like, I was like, yes, thank you for admitting that. Good for you, dude.
That's always like such a good feeling when you introduce somebody to a film that they either like were like, hey, I don't want to watch that thing, or I don't like it, or they have opinions about it, and then they watch it and they're like, hey, that was actually really good.
Yeah, feels good. It feels great.
Yeah, shout out to Addy.
Shout out to Addy.
On that note, man, let's go ahead and get out of here. I got to roll.
Yeah. Let's get the fuck out of here. There's really not much else to conversate about. And if there is, we'll be back next week.
Yeah.
To do our thing. Thizzle.
Back on a more consistent schedule.
I don't know, man. It's gonna be a hot summer, dude.
It is.
We're gonna
have to find the right time.
We're gonna have to do some soul searching here this summer with this with the podcast. But we'll be back next week. I ain't got shit to do next weekend, so we'll be back. Till then, I think we will hit the very usual protocol.
Fade out.
Peace the fuck out, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy your weeks. Hope it goes well. Hug somebody.